My child, listen to me closely, for heaven is pulling your attention right now. A message is being delivered that you cannot afford to ignore. Even as you sit here, there is a movement happening in the unseen, and it concerns your name, your account, your destiny. A bank executive, a figure of authority in the earthly system, has turned their eyes towards you because something unusual has taken place. A check of high value, an amount so great that it does not pass unnoticed, has been deposited with your name attached to it. This is not an ordinary check. This is not a simple transaction. This is a divine confirmation wrapped in the language of the world system. Heaven has released a blessing so significant that even earthly institutions cannot ignore it. My beloved child, this is the moment where God is showing you that what is yours cannot be hidden anymore. The wealth that was delayed is moving. The blessings that were held back are being transferred. The inheritance you thought lost is being restored. For too long you have cried out, asking, when will my life shift? When will my hands finally hold what my heart has prayed for? Heaven replies through this sign, your time has come. That check is more than paper, it is a symbol of your breakthrough. The executive is not investigating you to harm you, but to confirm what heaven has already assigned to your life. It is proof that the magnitude of your blessing will not pass quietly. Do not fear the eyes watching, for their watch is not over you. It is over what heaven has entrusted to you. And know this, no one can steal what has been stamped with your name in heaven's record. No system can block what God has already written in your destiny. This check, this sudden deposit, this high-value blessing, it is the earthly reflection of a heavenly release. My beloved child, your table is being set in abundance. The bank account in the physical is aligning with the account written for you in heaven. The wealth of years past, the opportunities once stolen, the resources that were hidden, they are all flowing back to you now. This investigation is not a threat, it is a trumpet. A declaration that your time of financial elevation is no longer coming, it has arrived. Stay with this message to the very end, for each word is a step deeper into the truth of your breakthrough. You will not leave this moment empty. You will walk away knowing heaven has placed a seal of increase upon your name. The check is only the beginning. The doors that open next will astonish you, and the overflow will be greater than anything you imagined. My beloved child, heaven is sending you this message with urgency because your name has been lifted into a place of recognition. A bank executive has been alerted, not by mistake, but by divine orchestration, for a check of extraordinary value has been placed under your name. This is not a coincidence. This is a move of heaven, wrapped in the language of earth, to show you that your life is shifting into abundance. The check is not simply about money, it is about destiny. It represents the prayers you prayed in secret, the nights you wept asking for provision, the days you walked faithfully even when your hands were empty. Heaven has remembered you. God has written your name on the scroll of overflow, and now even the systems of man are being forced to acknowledge it. You have walked through seasons where doors closed suddenly, where opportunities slipped away, where financial pressure pressed against your spirit. But those days are ending. The check is a symbol that the cycle of lack is broken. Where you once struggled, you will now prosper. Where you once borrowed, you will now lend. Where you once felt overlooked, you will now be celebrated. Do not let fear rise in your heart at the word investigation. This is not to condemn you but to confirm you. The high value attached to your name is too great to be hidden. It must be seen, it must be recorded, it must be released. The bank is only reflecting what heaven has already declared: you are chosen for increase. My beloved child, prepare yourself, for this is only the beginning. The check is the first sign of many. Streams of provision are opening. Unseen sources of wealth are aligning with your path. What was withheld is being released. What was delayed is being accelerated. You are stepping into a season where abundance will not trickle, it will overflow. The eyes of authority may be upon your name, but the hand of God is upon your life. And when God places His hand upon you, no power of man can take away what has been delivered. This is your confirmation. This is your moment. This is the shift you have been waiting for. My beloved child, what is unfolding around you is far greater than numbers on a check or lines on a ledger. This is a sign from heaven that your life is stepping into a dimension you once thought was only a dream. The bank executive's eyes may be studying the check, but heaven's eyes are fixed upon you, and every record being examined is only proof that your name is tied to blessing. This high amount is not an accident, it is an announcement. It is heaven's way of saying, your season of survival has ended, and your season of overflow has begun. For too long you carried burdens, counting every coin, stretching every day, waiting for a shift. And now the shift is here, written in the form of value so high it cannot be ignored. This is heaven whispering that your table is being filled, your cup is overflowing, and your tomorrow will not look like your yesterday. Do not see this as pressure. See this as prophecy. The check is not just a financial matter, it is a mirror of your spiritual inheritance. God is confirming that everything stolen is being repaid with interest. Every delay is turning into acceleration. Every loss is becoming a foundation for double restoration. My beloved child, you are entering a season where abundance will chase you. Opportunities will look for your name. Provision will find its way to your doorstep. Even systems that once ignored you will now recognize you. The bank executive represents the earthly system, but the check represents heaven's decree. And heaven's decree always prevails. You must understand this truth: when heaven assigns something to you, no investigation can take it away. No report can cancel it. No delay can erase it. The name written on that check is your name, and your name has been sealed by the authority of God. So prepare your spirit for expansion. Prepare your home for increase. Prepare your heart for the weight of blessing. The days of scarcity are closing behind you, and the dawn of overflow is breaking before you. This is the sign you prayed for, the confirmation you longed for, the answer you cried out for in silence. My beloved child, rejoice, for heaven has deposited into your life a blessing too great to be hidden. The check is not just paper, it is proof that your future has been rewritten in favor. This is only the beginning, and what comes next will leave you in awe of how deeply you are loved and chosen. My beloved child, let your heart rest in this truth: what is unfolding is not a coincidence, it is a divine orchestration. The check of great value that has been placed under your name is not simply currency, it is a testimony. It tells the story of prayers rising like incense before heaven, of years where you waited in silence, of battles you endured with little strength, yet never abandoned your faith. Now the reward has descended, and it has descended in a way that even the systems of the world cannot ignore. The bank executive may look upon this matter with earthly authority, but above their gaze stands the throne of heaven. Above their pen rests the decree of God. Above their calculations flows the river of provision that comes from the hand of the Almighty. What they see as unusual, heaven calls destined. What they examine with suspicion, heaven celebrates as confirmation. My beloved child, do not fear this scrutiny, for it is not the eye of judgment, it is the echo of recognition. This check is more than a deposit. It is a doorway. It is the first signal that you are moving from valleys into mountains, from limitations into expansion, from scarcity into abundance. The ground beneath your feet is shifting because God has written your name into the chapter of overflow. And once God writes, no one can erase. Think back, beloved, to the seasons when you asked yourself why others seemed to prosper while you labored in silence. Think of the nights you held your hands open, wondering if heaven remembered you. Today is heaven's answer, you were never forgotten. You were never overlooked. Your portion was preserved until the exact moment it would bring the greatest impact in your life. That moment is now. And this is only the beginning. The check is a sign, but it is not the end of the story. More doors will open, more opportunities will arise, more provision will find its way into your hands. The same God who placed this sign before you is the same God preparing streams of blessing that will not run dry. Your name is being whispered in places of influence. Your destiny is being written in the language of abundance. My beloved child, lift your head and walk in confidence. The investigation is not your downfall, it is your announcement. It is proof that what God has released over your life is too big to remain unseen. Your cup will overflow, your table will be filled, and your life will become a living testimony that no one can stop what heaven has started. My beloved child, hear the voice of heaven as it echoes over your life. This is the unfolding of a divine promise that could not be delayed any longer. The check of immense value that bears your name is not merely money entering a system, it is heaven marking you publicly with favor. What was once hidden in silence is now being shouted in light. Do not be troubled by the watchful eyes of the executive, for their role is not to hinder but to confirm. They are a witness to the magnitude of what has been placed in your hands. They are looking upon your name because heaven has made your name unignorable. What seemed impossible has now been written as reality, and no scrutiny of man can undo what God has sealed. This blessing did not appear overnight, it was birthed from years of endurance. Every time you chose faith over fear, every time you gave even when your hands were empty, every time you whispered hope into the silence of night, those seeds are now returning as harvest. The check is not just an answer, it is a harvest of your obedience. My beloved child, the presence of such value means more is coming. This is only the opening floodgate. The streams of heaven are beginning to pour, and what begins with one deposit will multiply into rivers of supply. Finances, opportunities, connections, and doors will now align to your name because your season of lack has ended. Where you once stretched every coin, you will now steward abundance. Where you once felt pressed, you will now overflow. Do you feel the shift? The air around you is different because the weight of delay has lifted. The heaviness of waiting has broken. You are stepping into freedom, and this freedom comes with provision. Heaven has not only heard your prayers, it has answered them in a way so undeniable that even earthly systems must pause and take notice. My beloved child, let peace enter your heart. Let hope swell within you. Let faith rise like fire in your chest. For this check, this investigation, this moment, it all points to one truth: God has turned his face toward you in favor. You are stepping into a chapter where your story will no longer be about waiting, but about receiving. And what you receive will not be small, it will be great, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This is your confirmation. This is your evidence. This is your breakthrough dressed in earthly form. The name on the check is your name, and heaven is declaring it belongs to you. My beloved child, let this moment sink deep into your spirit, for heaven is unfolding something so extraordinary that even those who handle wealth and authority are left in awe. The check that carries your name is more than a transaction, it is a signpost in your journey, declaring that you have crossed over from the wilderness of lack into the promised land of abundance. For years you have carried questions in your heart. You asked, why me? Why must I walk through valleys of need? Why does breakthrough feel so far away? Heaven heard every question. But rather than answering with small tokens, God prepared a banquet-sized blessing, one so large that it could not arrive quietly. That is why a bank executive has noticed. That is why your name is being spoken in rooms of decision. It is because your blessing is too big to be hidden. This is the kind of blessing that rewrites your story. The kind that lifts you from the shadows into the light of recognition. The kind that not only provides for your needs, but overflows so you may bless others. It is more than money, it is restoration, it is recompense, it is heaven's way of saying, I have not forgotten you, and I will repay you double for every tear you have shed. My beloved child, look closely at what is happening. The earthly system is bowing to heaven's decree. Institutions that once overlooked you are now forced to acknowledge your name. Where your account once felt ordinary, it is now extraordinary. Where your story once carried silence, it now carries testimony. Do not allow fear to enter when you hear the word investigation. This is not a search to condemn, it is a sign that the value attached to your life cannot go unnoticed. The magnitude of what heaven has placed in your hands must be recognized, must be confirmed, must be recorded. It is not to strip you, it is to validate you. This is the beginning of a divine chain reaction. The check is the first, but it will not be the last. More deposits are coming, more opportunities will unfold, more abundance will find you. Every door that was once shut is swinging open. Every delay is being overturned. Every season of scarcity is being replaced with overflow. My beloved child, breathe deeply now, for the weight of yesterday is gone. The fog of uncertainty has lifted. What stands before you is not a mirage, it is your reality. The God who promised to provide has exceeded his promise. You will not just have enough, you will have more than enough. And the world will see that the blessing over your life is not ordinary, it is divine. My beloved child, the hand of heaven is moving with such force that nothing can stop the flow that has begun for you. This check of great value, resting under your name, is a seed of proof that God's word never returns empty. It carries not just financial power but spiritual weight, for it is tied to the years you endured trials, the seasons you kept faith alive when everything around you felt silent, and the countless moments when you chose trust over despair. Understand this clearly. The bank executive may be looking at figures, but heaven is looking at faith. What they see as numbers, God sees as testimony. What they record as unusual, God declares as supernatural. For the check is not just about money, it is about a new identity being revealed over your life. You are no longer the one who waits, you are now the one who receives. You are no longer the one who borrows, you are now the one entrusted with more than enough. My beloved child, this blessing is layered. On the surface, it brings provision. But beneath the surface, it brings honor, restoration, and elevation. It is heaven's way of shifting how the world perceives you. Where once you were overlooked, now you will be recognized. Where once you were counted out, now you will be counted upon. This is the reversal of every silent season, the divine repayment for every hidden battle. Do not be surprised if you begin to notice other doors unlocking suddenly. Invitations you never expected will come. Opportunities that once slipped away will circle back. Resources you thought were gone forever will reappear. This is because the check is not an end, it is the beginning of a river. And rivers do not stop at one stream, they branch into many. The atmosphere around you is shifting. The heaviness you carried is dissolving. Your name is carrying a new fragrance in the spirit realm, one of favor, one of prosperity, one of divine endorsement. This is why eyes are on you now. But remember, the eyes of man are nothing compared to the eyes of God, and His gaze is fixed on blessing you beyond measure. My beloved child, take this as your sign that the waiting season has ended. What you are stepping into will not fade quickly. It will grow. It will expand. It will overflow. The check is the key, but the door it opens is vast, leading you into a future filled with streams of abundance. The story of your life is no longer about what was withheld, it is now about what has been released. And what has been released will never be taken away. My beloved child, every word you are hearing is unfolding like a scroll from heaven, written line by line with your name carved into its promise. The check of immense value that carries your name is more than currency, it is prophecy fulfilled. It is the answer to cries that echoed in the stillness of night. It is the return for sacrifices made when no one was watching. It is the proof that God has been working behind the scenes all along, waiting for the right moment to show you the greatness stored up for you. This is not ordinary provision, it is extraordinary release. The kind of release that shakes systems, that makes those in high positions take notice. When a bank executive bends to examine your case, it is not because of suspicion, it is because the blessing on your life is too great to pass quietly. Heaven has magnified your name, and now earth cannot help but follow suit. My beloved child, see how heaven works. What once seemed delayed has been transformed into overflow. Where you thought the answer was small, God decided to multiply it. Where you thought the season was ending in silence, God chose to make it thunder with blessing. This check is a signal that the locks are broken, the vaults are open, and the treasures long stored for you are being poured out without measure. You are stepping into a place where favor surrounds you like a shield. Even those who once ignored you will begin to recognize you. Even those who doubted your journey will have to admit that you are chosen. This is not just about finances, it is about honor. It is about God lifting your head after seasons where you bowed low under pressure. It is about Him proving that your faith was never wasted, your prayers were never empty, and your endurance was never in vain. Do not look at the check as an isolated event. Look at it as the opening of floodgates. Beyond this will come opportunities, partnerships, inheritances, and provisions you did not see coming. The same hand that placed this blessing will continue to release more, wave after wave, until your life is overflowing with abundance. My beloved child, the account of heaven has been transferred into the account of your life. The executive may study numbers, but heaven studies names, and your name has been stamped with favor. Rest now, for the struggle has shifted. You are no longer standing in a place of waiting, but in a place of receiving. And what you are receiving will not only sustain you, it will change you, enlarge you, and position you for greater things still to come.